you could believe it, because the season to me is, I mean, it's still winter. Okay, we're still getting
Yeah.
snow here in central and upstate New York, and of course Binghamton's in the southern tier. We are here in this Bearcat break room here with Zach Rogacki, Binghamton University Bearcats catcher on the baseball team inside the 2025 season and inside our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. I love the Bearcat behind you, Zach. How are we doing today?
Good, good. Excited to be here. Just got your text last night, and I was pretty excited to jump on a call with you and get this going.
Yeah, no, happy to have you here. And I know that you're one of the vets on this baseball team for the Binghamton Bearcats. So, why Binghamton? How did it all come about? And what ultimately made you feel like this is the right place to call home?
So I actually last year was my first year here,
Yeah,
so I
came
transferred
over.
here after my sophomore year. Went through the whole, transfer recruiting process, went to a bunch of different schools, and I don't know, Bing just kind of felt like home. The coaching staff really showed me that they cared and like really wanted me to come here. But then, we just have this facility. We just got this field house installed. It's the facilities are second to none, I think, on the entire East Coast. So, and definitely, absolutely top three, if not the best in the nation. So that was a big deciding factor.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you're a vet in the world of collegiate baseball, but you're a newer face to Binghamton baseball. Like you said, you went into the transfer portal and you made this decision. What was your experience like in the portal? I mean, just because so many people talk about it, it's always a hot topic. I discuss it on this on Wake Up Call all the time because there's so many things to it, and it just brings about a lot of discussion pieces. So physically being in the portal, I mean, I guess we could say spiritually being in the portal, because you're not like sitting in the portal with your physical body. But when you get into this portal, you become a part of this database. What was that like? Because so many people discuss what they think it is, what they think it feels like. But being a student athlete that was in the portal, how was the experience?
I was in a pretty good space at my old school, but I like decided that I thought I could play at a higher level. So I jumped in the portal. It's kind of the most stressful, unstressful thing, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
So, big decision that you're gonna make. But I went in having no clue whether, schools would be interested, but they find you if you
Yeah.
could play. Like my dad, when I went in the portal, he told me like if you could play, like they'll find you. So like that was a big thing that de-stressed me, and I got lucky. I just reached out to a bunch of schools, Binghamton being one of them,
Yeah.
my top list of schools. And schools reached back out to me, and as soon as schools started reaching back out to me, I, kind of relaxed a little bit
Yeah.
because it's a big risk going in the portal. Relaxed, and then progressed down the line, and wasn't too stressful after that. But initially, pretty stressful stuff.
Well, and I was looking back at this last night. You transferred from Alvernia University.
Mhm.
So just bring me into that experience, and obviously a different level of baseball. You said you believed, you banked on yourself, you believed that you could play at a higher level of baseball. What did you take away from Alvernia, and what made you believe that you could move up in NCAA?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I would take from Vernie is gaining experience in college baseball games. You get to collegiate baseball, the game really, speeds up on you. Bigger players, faster players, better pitchers, obviously, really speeds up on you. So I think gaining the experience in those 2 years out, I was at Alvernia, were very important in my development. So.
Yeah, like you said, a couple years at Alvernia for you when you were going through your original recruitment and you ended up going to Alvernia. What drew you there? And did you think to yourself, this is a stepping stone? I know I have more in me. I know I'm going to go show myself here. I mean, how was your recruiting process like? I mean, what kind of came of it? Was it a lot of schools getting in touch with you? Do you feel like you were under recruited and you said, "Hey, I'm going to go here and I'm going to be here forever and I'm going to show everybody," or "Hey, I'm going to go here and I'm going to utilize this as a way to show what I can do and then I'm going to try to get recruited again." I mean, how did you kind of go through the process?
Right. So specifically for me, I was in the class where COVID kind of,
Yeah.
you know, put a train wreck into recruiting my junior year. I was talking to a few Division One schools, went on a couple visits, and then, COVID happens and just like radio silence because everybody gets their COVID guys back, all their, years of eligibility back. So I felt like I was a little, you know, under the radar for the most part after COVID happened.
Yeah.
And, Division One schools couldn't come see me my junior year, which was the most important, year for recruiting for baseball players in high school. So then, the fall comes of my senior year, I don't have anywhere to go. And a bunch of Division 3 schools had been following me all summer and all fall. And I really had no idea what junior college was. So I wasn't really looking into that route.
Yeah.
So I'm a pretty academic focused kid. So Division 3 is a pretty good outlet for that. Alvernia reached out to me, schools like Misericordia, Arcadia, but I don't know. Alvernia really stuck with me in the visit I went with them, and I really enjoyed the school, the coaching staff, and I actually got to go watch practice, which I thought was pretty unique. So I don't think it would be fair to say I was always planning to leave Alvernia, but after my freshman season, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder because I got second team all conference catcher, and I, decided to stay so I would get the first team, so it would look better for myself. It was a personal goal and, transfer purposes. So I don't know. I felt like I just kind of excelled my sophomore year, and, I knew I had Division 1 interest in high school, so I just wanted to explore that path.
Yeah, and when you went out there, like you said, education has always been a big part of what you do, so that wasn't a worry. When you saw, I mean, how much did you know about Binghamton's educational side of things? I mean, they were just named within what this past year a top 10 in the nation public Ivy League school. Did you know that Binghamton was going to, take, like you said, never had a problem with education. I love, that's important to me. Did you look at that side of it? And did you know, like, if I go to Binghamton University, I'm not a student athlete at some school where I can slack off and take some, nothing courses and just play baseball. Like, I have to make sure that I'm on my A game. How much did you know about the educational side of Binghamton?
Right. So I had looked up a few things about Bing before I got here. Obviously, at my old school, I was an environmental science major and had to switch over to bio when I got here.
Yeah.
So I knew they had a pretty steamed biology department. So I knew I'd be in for a bit of a rough first semester trying to get, organized and things like that at a new place. And, my parents have always been academics are the top thing and then athletics are the next thing.
Yeah.
So, I always take that seriously. And I looked up that Binghamton, for the things I looked up, every single website said they were a top 30 academic school in the nation. So that was pretty important to me. So, and, right now I'm sitting in, when I did my visit facility, I'm actually sitting in like the academic excellence room we have in our facility. It's ginormous. You get pretty productive work done in here. So that was an important thing too.
Yeah, I toured your facility a few months back, and I got some videos that I'm going to be putting up now that obviously it's baseball season again. And I, I mean, I've been to junior college places. I've been that have good facilities. I've been to the facilities at some high schools in central and upstate New York that I think have fantastic collegiate level facilities, and Liverpool being one of them. And I went into your facility. Now, I've covered many a school and I have seen a lot. I've been down to Florida State. Their football training facility looks like an airport. It looks like an airplane hangar. And I was like, oh, is that for all the teams? Like, no, it's just for football. So when I came to Binghamton to look at the baseball facilities, and obviously there's more being built indoor and all these other pieces going into it for baseball and softball and whatnot. When I saw the field, and then I went in and I'm seeing like, the indoor part of the field, kind of the luxury box and all this stuff. I'm sitting here saying to myself, like, this is just a nice baseball stadium. This is just, I mean, you see like the bar and the little, the private refrigerators and the seats and the glass, and just walking through this whole place. And as soon as you walk in, there's video, there's the jerseys on the mannequins that are there. You come over, there's a room where you touch the thing and it makes the room like shaded so you can't see inside of it. So if you're having a private meeting, you can shade the room. I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, how often will Binghamton and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership allow me to use this space to do a broadcast? Because your facility at Binghamton University, and I was told this before I came in, they said they rival the Big Ten. It's like an Ohio State facility for the Buckeyes. That's what I was told coming in. $60 million facility. Absolutely incredible is what I was told. I come in, I see it, I tour it. I don't really like it. It left me just like, I mean, I went into your clubhouse and I've been in at Major League Baseball clubhouses. Yours was nicer than some of the Major League ones that have made the playoffs. And I walk in and I just see, and it kind of reminded me when the Orlando Magic and the NBA redid theirs, the way yours is set up and kind of this like cyclical thing where you're all kind of like facing each other. And it's just, I don't have adequate words. I don't think there's enough in the dictionary to say Binghamton University has one of the greatest, nicest, classiest facilities in that I have seen in my lifetime, professionally, collegiately, whatever. I mean, I would imagine when you came to visit Binghamton University, you probably stood there in silence and thought, if I come here, I get a locker in this room. So I know I just kind of teed it up here and threw you like a really slow pitch fastball here at 40 miles an hour to bang out of the stadium, but let's get into the facilities from your perspective, because I mean, I'm sitting here thinking of everything that I saw, and I'm struggling to find the words that adequately describe that everyone in their lifetime should watch at least one game at Binghamton University. Oh, you're on mute right now, so there you go.
When I sorry about
Oh, you're
that.
good.
When I did my visit here and I like walked in, there's this I saw the weight room and there's this huge Binghamton Bearcats. I think I could like turn the screen and show it right there.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I was like, wow, like the branding in this facility is insane. And as soon as I walked in here, I had one more visit lined up for where I was gonna go, and like right when I walked in here, I was like, this is where I'm coming. Obviously, I went on the visit to just, see what was out there to offer still. But yeah, I walked in here, saw it's ridiculous how much technology we have here. Everything, everything that's put into this place is for our development and, like success. Um, yeah. So even the lights, you just walk into a room, the lights just turn on by themselves.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy stuff. The locker room is, I think it rivals. I think this facility, I know there's Arkansas has a crazy baseball facility, Oklahoma State. I think we are like completely rival those. I've seen the videos. I honestly think like we have the best facility in the country. And now that we have the field house, the indoor field house, which you probably haven't seen, we have a full practice infield and half an outfield indoors, which is incredible for Northeast because we haven't had a single practice outside.
Yeah.
And, we have this field house now with a full turf infield, bathrooms, dugout, everything. It really helps us like prepare, get extra reps. And, this place is always open, which I thought was another incredible thing about this place. Like you could come in here, our key cards end at 11, but you could literally stay here all night long. And, if you wanted to get extra swings at 1 a.m., you could. But, I just think every piece that went into this facility has a purpose, and I think that's pretty important. So
I kind of feel like you must feel like, and your teammates, that you've walked into Stark Industries and this is like Iron Man's headquarters, essentially.
yeah, yeah. To be honest, like it never gets old being in the facility. Like you want to come here every single day and get better. And I walk in here like I think the first month I was here last year, first being on here on campus, I like would walk past the stadium and I would be like, wow, like I'm so privileged to be here. Like this is such an honor that they decided to, let me into this space.
Yeah.
Just extremely blessed and, everything at I mean, the training room is ridiculous too. I thought that was important for
Yeah.
recovery. So again, everything has a purpose and we don't get sick of being here. So.
Well, and the thing is it's not like there's one room. Like here's the treadmills, here are the weights, here the batting cage right now. Like this, it's all no. It's like here's where you bat, here's where you lift, here's where you do your rehab. Like here's where you have your meeting space. Here's where you can have that study hall kind of classroom aspect to it. It's absolutely like I'm surprised that some of you guys haven't asked for your housing to be within that building. So Zach Rogacki here with me, Binghamton Bearcats catcher here in the 2025 season. You've already started off the season, and like you said, you haven't had a practice outside. Snow, it's cold, ice, it's starting to thaw out, thank God. But you started over at Texas State University and took 3 losses there, and then faced off against Elon and won 2 of 3. So won that series against Elon, 2-4 on the season. And then here's something that I find really interesting is that you're going to go to a place in Tennessee. You're going to have 1 game against Siena, 2 against East Tennessee State. And what I love about this is it's called Johnson City, Tennessee, because obviously those of you that know Binghamton, like I do and like you do, Zach, Johnson City is there. So there's Johnson City, Vestal, and of course, Binghamton itself. Johnson City very much kind of makes you feel like a home away from home. Then you go to Columbus, Missouri. Your first home matchup that you have here is going to be St. Bonaventure on Tuesday, March 11th. God willing, weather willing, plays 3 p.m. Eastern time in Vestal, New York at the baseball complex we've been talking about. Then you got a 3-game series against Holy Cross. Then Siena, who you're going to see next up. You're going to see them again in Vestal. Then we got the University of Maine. So what I love about this is you have to start on the road. But then from March 11th, I'm looking at it right now, we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight home games that are going to happen between March 11th and March 23rd. Just what that means to you. Like you got to start on the road. You're a North team. Northern teams start down in Texas or Missouri or Florida or the Carolinas and whatnot. So you start away from home. And then from March 11th to March 23rd, we have 8 games in a row that have you at your baseball complex. Just what that means to you coming up.
Yeah, so the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season every year are kind of like a grind. We get home from places and we get 3 days back at Bing for classes to catch up on work and stuff, and
Yeah.
we get right back on the road. So having 8 straight games and that's like 2.5 weeks at home is incredibly important for us to like recover and stuff like that. But also like we just love playing at home. We kind of play. I remember last year we definitely played better at our home stadium with our fans. Great community that comes out to our to the stadium every single game, even if it's cold, because people around here
Yeah.
are used to it,
Yeah.
so they don't mind bringing a blanket or a jacket and coming to watch us. So even if it's cold, we still get pretty packed out stands, and we just honestly have more fun playing at home. We have a great group of guys, a lot of energy, and we're pretty excited to showcase it to everybody here.
Yeah, and for you, the challenge of what you've had early on in the season, when we look back at Elon, where we saw you win 2 of 3 and win that series, starting off the season, losing the series at Texas State, what has been maybe the biggest learning lesson for this team up to this point?
Um, you know, Staying together is a big thing. I mean, even when we're losing, we personally, our team, we think we could beat anybody because, we lost to Texas State a couple 1-run games and then they went out and beat Oklahoma State in a midweek. So, we think we could beat anybody in the country. We're just a pretty confident team, honestly. A little chip on our shoulder, getting picked second in the America East. And, we're very, very young, but also a good mix of experienced guys on the team. which kind of balance each other out, and we keep ourselves level-headed.
Yeah.
But you'll hear in the dugout, we don't stop talking. Like
Yeah.
we never shut up, so to speak. So such a great group of guys this year. Yeah, very energetic, very exciting playing style. I think people will come to see. Yeah, so
Yeah, and I'm looking at the fact that, and I've had him on the broadcast, and I appreciate him so much. Also, you can tell him that he owes me a baseball hat. So make sure you do this. Tim Sinicki, your head coach, he's been with the program for over 3 decades. You said you believe as a team you can beat anybody in the country. What comes from your head coach that makes you believe that? What comes from your leader?
yeah. So I mean, we have a conference for every game outside the dugout, and he just tells us to go play good baseball. Like have an exciting day of baseball, play good baseball, play clean. I think him just being such an experienced head coach keeps us confident that we're going to win every single game. He never gets too high or too low. Um, Always something, instructive to say, like positive instruction. I had a rough play where I never saw the ball in the outfield this weekend. And then, I come back in the dugout, apologize to him, and he goes, "You're going to go out there and make a great play on the next one." And then, of course, I made a diving catch, and I was like, of course, Skip was right. So, always positive, something to say. He puts out, I feel like, the right lineup every day. I mean, last year was tough because we had so many injuries. We had 48 different lineups, but this year we're starting out very healthy. We've had the same lineup almost every single game. So I think just his knowledge and love for the game is pretty helpful for us.
Yeah, and for you being a catcher, was that always the vision for you growing up? I mean, kind of going back to the beginning, when do you feel like you really fell in love with the sport of baseball and thought, I got to do this with my life? Like, when did that happen for you? And at the same time, were you always enamored by the catcher position, or did you have a different position that you wanted to play?
Yeah, so I've caught since I was 6 years old. Kind of a funny story. One of my best friends from home threw pretty hard as a 6-year-old, and nobody else wanted to catch him. And my dad just kind of threw the gear on there and threw me into the flames. And I was like, okay, I guess this is my life now. So I've always wanted to be a catcher. I just pretty energetic kid, so I kind of enjoy being involved in every single play. But you know, I've wanted to play baseball my entire life. I've wanted to play pro ball my entire life. It's kind of been everything to me to this point. High school, I kind of was a tiny kid until I had a bit of a growth spurt, and that's kind of what got me here. So yeah, always wanted to catch. I just enjoy it a lot. The outfield has come along
Yeah.
just because can't really catch every day of a college season. It's just kind of tough on the body,
Yeah.
all that traveling and stuff. So kind of developed the outfield side around like 12 years old and kind of used it as my secondary position my whole life.
So, what can you say to going back and forth between the two, being a catcher and then playing the outfield? What has that experience been like for you, and how dynamic do you feel like you can be today in your career for Binghamton?
Yeah, I think I could obviously want to be in the lineup every day. So the outfield is a good crutch for that because, we have Evan Sullivan who's also a very good catcher. So to get him in the game is very 8 DHs for us when I catch. So to get Sully in the game is very important. He's got a great relationship with the pitchers. So obviously I'm perfectly good with going to the outfield for a game or two or wherever I am. I just want to be on the field. So, the outfield is a bit of a break for me.
Okay.
Catching gets a bit stressful at times in these big moments. And then, when I'm playing the outfield, I got one job, just catch the ball. And then catcher, you got to block, throw, catch, everything, call pitches, which I enjoy doing. But the outfield's a bit of a stress reliever, for a Saturday. So I enjoy that. I enjoy the mix of positions.
Do you think here with Zach Rogacki here in this Bearcat Breakroom in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University, spotlighting the Binghamton Bearcats baseball team this morning in the 2025 season on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios? When you speak on some of the things that you were saying there, being a catcher, playing the outfield, you want to stay in the lineup, you want to stay out there. You brought up when you are catching that you're calling pitches. Do you feel like you and the pitchers at Binghamton have a good enough relationship where you're masking? Because obviously people are trying to pick up signs all the time. They're trying to pick up everything that they can possibly get to show them what's coming. Do you feel like you have found a way to be very secretive and successful and subtle in calling pitches with whoever's on the mound? Do you feel like you've got a technique down right now?
Right. Yeah. Had a little trouble Texas State actually with the sign stealing, but because it was dark out and it gets tough for pitchers to see signs between your legs when it's so dark. But Skip mentioned it to me. We cleaned it up this past weekend and didn't have any problems. But we always like when we our preseason practices, we are always the ones calling pitches. Like even if we have a script for a bullpen of what pitches we're supposed to be throwing, we're still putting down signs between our legs.
Okay.
And I feel like we have four guys, four catchers on the team. Me and Evan, two seniors, and then Chris and Tommy, who are two freshmen. And I think, we have a pretty good meshed group of catchers where any pitcher would want to throw to any of us. So, I mean, that's like the most important thing about catching is, making the pitcher comfortable and, controlling the game with him. So I think any sign that me and Evan put down, we get they rarely shake us off because we have such a good relationship. And then if I need to look like in the dugout, I have Skip, he'll flash me a little sign and, so it's a pretty good system we've got.
Yeah, and you said with Evan Sullivan, you made mention of the fact that you said playing the outfield is a little bit of a break for you, and it's important to have him on. It's important to have him out there catching. Not everybody says that, right? In whatever position you are, you're a pitcher, you're a catcher, first base, whatever you're saying. Some people are saying I'm the guy, and that's it. Like I'm the guy, I want to be out there. You said something really interesting. You put the team before yourself. You said, yeah, I love being out there, and I want to be out there and be in the lineup no matter what. But we got to get him out here too. We got to get Evan out here because he's a really good catcher. So that gives me the opportunity to go to the outfield. Selflessness with this team. I'd like to go into that a little bit deeper because I really honed in on you saying, yeah, I'm a catcher, but I got to get this other guy out here too because he's really good. Respecting other talent at your same position, kind of unheard of on certain teams at certain times. So why? Why are you so selfless?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's individually me. I think it's like the entire team this year just kind of wants to go to battle with each other. We celebrate, a new thing we're doing this year is we celebrate the little things. Like if somebody drops down a bunt, we're on the top step, like high-fiving him and hugging him and stuff. So, I mean, I think it's just the team as a collective. We have such an incredible relationship with each other this year.
Yeah.
And, no, nobody, I mean, obviously in 2 weeks, I haven't seen any instance where anybody's, wished someone else that's playing above them, like badly to do bad so they get back in the lineup. So, everybody's on the top step. There's nobody really, see the lineup card. I haven't seen anybody mope about the lineup card, which is, something that happens in college baseball. And,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point this season, but, you put your arm around somebody and say, hey, you'll be back out there. Just support your teammates because at the end of the day, like, we're all playing for America's championship and we all want to win a ring. So, I mean, stuff like that, just buying into each other. And, I have full confidence in everybody doing their job.
Yeah.
So, Skip could throw anybody out there and anybody on this team because we have such great depth. And I'll be like, yeah, they're going to get the job done. So I think that's where it comes from mostly.
Zach Rogacki here on the broadcast, heading to Tennessee, then heading to Missouri before coming home, like I said, for 8 in a row from March 11th to March 23rd. There are sports where they don't play for a week. They don't play for 8 days. What is it about baseball and the athlete and softball too? I'm going to put these in together. What is it about baseball and softball that we can watch a lacrosse team and I respect all athletes of all sports. We can watch a lacrosse team not play for a week. We can watch a basketball team not play for a week. But when it comes to baseball and softball, it is continuous. I mean, just bring me into we spoke about the facility and what you can do there to train, but your body, your stamina, I mean, what is kind of like the magic for you, that secret sauce for you of sleep habit, nutrition, and all these things? Because whatever happened, good or bad, extra innings or not, you won, you lost, you got to wake up the next day and hey, we just played a game at 4 p.m. Our next game is at noon or at 2 p.m. And my body needs to literally just snap right back into being ready and being prepared. There are so many teams out there that have time to think about the win or loss, get their body right, get their nutrition right, get out there and run, get out there and watch film. You guys have to literally turn it just like a softball team does and be right back at it in less than 24 hours. How do you do it as an athlete?
Yeah, it's it's a grind. I mean, I totally respect sports like lacrosse and basketball because, they're so physically taxing, right away. Like during the games, they need those weeks to stay off. Football, obviously. I think it's just sports like baseball and softball, it's more of a mental recovery.
Yeah.
I feel like playing so many games in a row is a good thing for like, the mental state because you have a bad game and then you could just like that, the next day you're back into it. So I think that's important for baseball and softball players to just, you know, slow down and realize that you have another day tomorrow and stuff like that. But definitely on the road, it's tough. The physical side, we have a pretty good training staff. They usually do, we'll go into their room. We'll have a designated time to go in their room after the game and get treatment and stuff like that. So they get us right. I actually lose a lot of weight when I catch, so
Okay.
we get huge meals catered to us after games. So I take full advantage of that, and that gets me back to where I was. So yeah, it's just stuff like that. Such a caring staff of people that we have, coaching staff, training staff, sports medical staff back at home, communications office. They're always looking out for us and like they want the best for us. And I think that's very important in our recovery. We wake up feeling refreshed. Another thing about scouting reports and stuff, Coach Herba is our hitting coach, works like tirelessly to get us video out. So we'll watch that the night before, or after a game, and it's pretty interesting. He'll send us adjustments and stuff like that. So everything we need is at our disposal. It's just, some players tend not to use it more than others, I think, at other schools, but everybody here uses the tools that we've been like gifted with. So
Yeah, and you talked about the fact that you're on the road and you come back and you haven't been sleeping in your own bed and you haven't been in Binghamton in a minute and then you're there for a day or two or three and then you're back on the road again. How do you get like what is your specific like the Zach Rogacki system? What is your system? Like when you come back to Binghamton, what is your system of attacking your studying, attacking your assignments, attacking your sleep regimen and all that stuff? Like what when you have such limited time at home sometimes, what is kind of the way that you go about systematically making the most of that time?
yeah, so when we're on the road, that's actually when I do most of my schoolwork.
Okay.
Um, so bit of I mean, last semester, if I had last semester's course load this semester, I'd be in a little trouble, but not as bad of a course load for me this semester, but it's definitely tough. I see guys, we're on the bus and everybody puts on their personal hotspots on their laptop and we all just grind our schoolwork out so that when we get home, we could just recover, like sleep and just go to class. So I think it's important for student athletes, like if you go away on a road trip, don't just be there for whatever your sport is. Like if you have free time, obviously get a sheet of homework done, do stuff like that. Studying is very important with this group because, we go to a tough academic school
Yeah.
and, stuff's always coming at us. So we just all get it done. I think when we came back from Texas State, I saw so many guys buy the Wi-Fi on the plane and we just all had our computer screens going. So it's pretty funny sometimes. But yeah, we're pretty academic focused team, but so that we get our work done and we're eligible to play. So yeah.
I love hearing it. That student and student athlete, ain't that something? But Binghamton talks about it a lot, and I love talking about it here on the show because it is the more important thing. Zach Rogacki, we're here in this Bearcat Breakroom in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. And of course, here with Binghamton Baseball and the Bearcats Catcher today, also playing the outfield here in the 2025 season. Zach, we're going to play something called Rapid Fire. We can ask each other any question about literally anything. There's no preparation. And so any topic, any question, you get to ask me first. What do you got?
Okay.
Yeah, buzz me.
What drew you to pick me for this interview?
Well, so here's the thing. So I work with John and David and the team to kind of put it together. And so sometimes they'll come to me and say like, here's a thought, or I'll go to them and say, here's a thought. And this week was interesting because there's been different successes. So you keep your eye on like, okay, the spring sports are starting. So in my head, I'm like, well, okay, obviously baseball's coming up. I got to do baseball soon. But then I'm also trying to respect swimming and diving. And so it's that like dance of trying to get it all together. And then I know that, track and field is out there doing some things as well. But I just had Jenna Chan on the show. So, John came to me and was like, hey, we're looking to bring on Zach. And I was like, all right, we're going to do baseball early. I'm totally fine with that. It gives me more of an opportunity to do more baseball this season. And obviously I'll have Coach on. I need to hound him about the hat that I don't have yet. So, but yeah, I mean, I think having you on today, Zach, to me, I'm not disappointed in any student athlete at Binghamton. I have learned something from each of you. You don't know this, but 3.5 years I spent trying to get Binghamton, like off and on. I was like, I want to work with Binghamton. And 3.5 years, the beginning of it, I didn't have like the right plan set up. And then I created this plan for colleges and universities that can also be used by prep schools and high schools. And I just made this template that I could really bring in anywhere. And I started it with Lemoyne. And then I just set my eyes back to Binghamton. Something inside of me was like, it's time to ask again. And I met Gene Marshall on the court of a basketball game. And I was like, Gene, I really would like to talk with you in person. And we set up a time and that was it. And, now we're heading into year 2 after this month. It's crazy that a year's already gone by. But I feel like everything inside of me that wanted to work with Binghamton is now like amped up even more because I know more of you guys and more of the girls and more of the coaches and I just feel like you all have given me a fabric of the Bearcats that is really stating like you wanted to work with Binghamton because you saw value here, and now I'm seeing so much value back from Binghamton that I just love it. And it makes me root, it gives me something to root for. Now when I come out to a baseball game, I'm going to be like, I get to see your teammates, and I get to talk with you in person and, shake hands with you and, just have that easy conversation, like go get them today, or, did you see that game last night? Or I know what you did in that last game type of thing. So I feel like when I get to know you, I have even more of a vested interest in just watching throughout the season and wanting to be there and wanting to talk with you guys, and especially wanting to go in March before it gets insanely hot outside. So I'm very honored that when John and I were talking that your name came up because, hindsight 2020 talking with you, once again, John Hartrick, did a great job at finding a good spokesperson for a team. My question back to you, Zach, is if you took over my show for the day, so it's Wake Up Call with Zach Rogacki for tomorrow morning, who are the 3 guests you're going to have on your show? Could be anybody, literally anyone. Who are you going to have on the show and why?
First would be Ichiro Suzuki, my favorite baseball player of all time.
Okay.
Wow, this is I got to build a list really quick. Probably take up Commissioner of Baseball. Just ask him a couple questions about why they're changing so many things in the game.
Okay.
Geez. I want to pick like a non-sports person, but I'm kind of blanking. Probably Jack Hughes, 'cause he's my favorite hockey player, and hockey's probably my favorite sport, to be honest. But
Okay.
I was never good enough to play it,
Okay.
'cause it's such a tough sport. But
All right.
those three I'd probably take up, and I think it'd be funny to interview my parents and my brother. I think just ask them some crazy questions would be funny. Yeah, so.
So, and give a shout out here to all that don't know mom and dad's name and your brother as well.
Yeah, shout out to Lou and Kathy and Matt he's out in California. My parents are still out there in Jackson. I want to shout out the Binghamton men's swim and dive team too, America East champs.
Yeah, yeah. So we're looking forward to having the swimming and diving team on the broadcast here and showing them some love once again, winning the America East, which is huge. What's your next question for me?
Favorite sports memory of all time. It could be college or pro.
2023, I'm an Arizona Diamondback fan. My dad is a Yankee. I'm a Diamondback. My second team is Yankee. His second team is Diamondback. And I called him up. I was in Charlotte. I was doing the ACC tip off, so covering every ACC school in the Atlantic Coast Conference for men's basketball at the time. And I said to my dad, and it was right around my birthday. I also got to interview my favorite player of all time, Damon Stoudemire, because God is great. I became a Stoudemire fan at 9 years old, and when he was on the Raptors 95, 96, when he was a rookie. And I waited almost 30 years to interview him. And of all the jobs he could get in men's basketball, of 360 plus Division I men's basketball schools, he chose Georgia Tech. And I just so happened to cover Georgia Tech of the last decade. And so I got to talk with him, shake his hand, give him a hug, and spend time with him on camera. Insane. And then I got to do it again this past year. Insane. And so I'm so grateful. So I was down doing that, and that was like a birthday gift for me. And then I said to my dad, we were watching the game against the Phillies. I said, Dad, if they win, we're going to the World Series. Like I'm not missing it. And he said, all right. He said, if they win, get online. So they won. They beat the Phillies in Philadelphia. And I called my dad, and he said, get online, look up the tickets. He said, you buy the tickets, I'll cover the rest. Like I got the hotel and the airfare, you get the tickets. And I bought my dad and I World Series tickets, and we went out to the World Series 2023. Rangers Diamondbacks in Arizona. I had never been to Arizona, never been to their field. I'm a Diamondback fan that feels by myself in Central New York. It was like being a wolf raised it like domesticated, and then being sent out into the wild and seeing all these other wolves and being able to howl with the rest of the family. That was great. 40,000 people cheering on the Diamondbacks. Positive. We saw game 3, and I still have on my phone my dad and I singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I have pictures, and I watched more of my dad than I watched the game. Like my dad was to my left, and I stared at my dad watching the game more than I stared at the game itself, saying to myself, thank God my father is alive, that we got to do this together. And the fact that like he was standing there and I could physically say that we brought each other to the World Series, and I got to do that with my dad, and hopefully I get to do it again. That means more to me than I can say. So I'd probably pick that and stop talking about it so I don't cry. So my question back to you, Zach, is if you could go to any event in the sports world this year, where would you go and why?
So I already have one picked out, or I am going to. It's my second favorite. My favorite. I'm a Mets fan, so
Okay.
my I'll be going on my birthday is David Wright's jersey retirement.
Oh
So
wow.
he was my favorite Met
Okay.
ever. I used his number until I learned who Ichiro was.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something I'm looking forward to doing this year with my dad. We're big Mets fans, so he bought the tickets, a little graduation birthday gift. But a thing I would like to go, like if I could, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. If the Devils were in that, I would I would drop everything. I would pay anything that any ticket price that they possibly could put on there, and I would go. So it's just an electric atmosphere and stuff like that. So definitely Game 7 Stanley Cup, and really looking forward to the David Wright jersey retirement day.
And you said it's on your birthday. What day is your birthday?
July 19th. So it
July
worked out
19th.
perfect.
All
Yeah.
right. So we got July 19th. You know, God works in very purposeful ways. So July
Yeah.
19th, I'm writing it down right now so I don't forget it here. So your birthday and David Wright's jersey retirement. How about that? And by the way, I have a soft spot for the Mets, and I just wanted to show you something that's right off camera that's here with me in the studio all the time. I predicted that the Mets would have Juan Soto and Pete Alonso, and I've had this for a couple of years now.
Oh my God.
So
That's funny.
yeah, it's right off. I'm a Pete Alonso fan, so
Yeah.
it's right off camera here to my left. So I do have a soft spot for the Mets, and as long as they're not playing my Diamondbacks, I do cheer on the Mets. Still want to see a Subway Series. Haven't done that yet. So
Oh yeah.
shout out to you for that, and shout out to you and your dad going to the jersey retirement on July 19th. Your birthday, David Wright's jersey retirement, and Stanley Cup. So you're a Devils fan. Obviously, you're from Jersey. I wanted to see the Ducks. I've always wanted to see the Anaheim Ducks. That's my team. And I saw them when the Prudential Center opened in New Jersey. I went to see a Devils Ducks game that went into extra time, and the Ducks ended up winning the game. And I thought there would be nobody there except for me that was a Ducks fan. I saw a guy wearing a jersey, and right in front of me, there was a kid that had a quacker. So I thought that was fantastic. So I'm sorry that we won over your Devils that day, but I would like to have a postseason where your Devils and my Ducks are both in the postseason. That would be nice.
Hmm.
So with
They
that
they
being,
played they've played each other in Stanley Cup before. Devils got the Ducks that one year.
well, we it's been a long time since 2007, and I got to watch my team hoist their Stanley Cup. So needs to come back. I'm restless. I think now that they went back to the old Mighty Duck logo, that there's a chance that we're coming back, hopefully sooner than later. Zach Rogacki here. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk with Zach and his teammates sooner than later. The Bearcat Breakroom, March 11th to March 23rd. You could see him at home. If you're going to be out in Tennessee, you could see him in Tennessee coming up here. Bearcat Breakroom, Zach Rogacki, Binghamton Bearcats Catcher, and also Outfield here in the 2025 season in our Bearcat Breakroom and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. Zach, my pleasure of having you on here today. Had a ton of fun, and I look forward to seeing you in person for a game coming up in the not too distant future, as well as cheering on you and your teammates. And I can't thank you enough for spending some time today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you giving me the time to talk about this team and promote us to the fans that are going to come out this year.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So enjoy your world-class facility, and obviously enjoy your time with your teammates. And I don't have to tell you this because you've been playing for a while, but celebrate all those little moments, like you said, to make sure that the team this season is celebrating the little wins. Make sure that you don't let any one of those pass you by, all right?
Yep, absolutely. It's a gift that we get to play this game. Thank God every day, and look forward to keeping the season going.
Awesome, man. Well, we're early on. We're spoiled. We got plenty of games to come, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon. And God bless in the meantime, and take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, you too.